What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we have some breaking news coming out of Louisiana, and I want to take a look at this. We're going to be taking a look at the Senate race, and I'm going to show you the polling before the election and the final outcome of the election. You'll probably be pretty shocked at what you see. And look at the headlines here. So New York Times is reporting Cassidy loses his primary in Louisiana as Trump vanquishes another GOP foe. And we have Fox News here saying Trump scores major Republican primary victory as Cassidy ousted in Louisiana. Now, if you remember, BBC is reporting here, you remember Cassidy was one of the senators, Republican senators, that voted to convict President Trump after his impeachment. And of course, this is when he was president before. And so President Trump never forgot about that, and he wanted to primary Cassidy, and it looks like he was successful in doing that. So now I want to show you the vote count here. We're using Decision Desk HQ. And so you have Letlow. She actually was the front runner. She won 44%, 44.99%. Fleming came in second at 28.21%. And then Cassidy came in third at 24.72%. Now, what's interesting here is there's going to be a runoff. You need to get to 50 plus 1, and neither of the top two vote getters got more than 50 plus 1, and so there's going to be a runoff, and that runoff will be in June. And so you just see, I mean, Cassidy didn't do well at all. Now, he's the incumbent Republican in Louisiana, and he really did not score well in this election. Now, I want to show you, if we're looking at the map here, the purple, that is Letlow. The red, that's Fleming. So these are the areas that they did the best. And look at Cassidy. Cassidy did well in what, 3 districts here? So it's just amazing to see the outcome. And so this is with 95% reporting, and they've already projected the two front runners. And so those two top vote getters will be moving on to the runoff. And then after the runoff, then they'll be running against the Democrat. And let me show you the Democrat real quick. And so here's the Democratic side. So it looks like we're going to have another runoff because 95% is reporting here, and you don't see a candidate over that 50 plus 1. And so it's going to be Davis against Crockett, and we'll have to see how that turns out. But one of the Democrats and one of the Republicans will be running against each other in the general election. Now, I want to show you this side by side because I thought this was really interesting. Look at how close this was when it comes to the side by side. So if we're looking at, let's look at the average, the last two polls average. You have Letlow at 34.5%. So they had her winning, and then they had Fleming at 29%, and then they had Cassidy at 20.5%. You see here, I mean, it's off a little bit, but they got the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3. Now, when we look at Qantas Insights, they were even closer. Qantas Insight has Letlow at 42%. It has Fleming at 30%. Then it has Cassidy at 20%. And look at the final results. You have Letlow. Now, this is 95% reporting, so you have 5 more percent to report, but this is pretty much how it's going to settle. But Letlow's at 44%, almost 45%. Fleming is at 28%, and Cassidy's at 24%. So Qantas Insight was pretty close. They were pretty dead on here. And then Emerson is showing Letlow at 27%, Fleming at 28%, Cassidy at 21%. And so the polling was pretty consistent, showing that it was either going to be Letlow that was going to win or Fleming. Cassidy, in the latest polls, Cassidy didn't have, I don't think he won any of the latest polls. And so, and I wasn't watching this really, really closely, but you can see here, it's just showing us, go back to February 25th, and you see that Cassidy's in the 20%, 21%. And that was on March 25th. And so Cassidy never really picked up any momentum at all. And then one more thing I want to bring your attention to, the margin of error here, plus or minus 3%. So plus or minus 3% for Letlow would have put her at about 45%, which is right here, almost 45%. So that was pretty dead on. And then if you're looking at the plus or minus 30%, if you drop down, it could be, Fleming could have been around 27% if you looked at that margin of error. And so we're getting close to that. I mean, it was pretty good. And then plus or minus 3%, Cassidy could have been up to close to 23%, close to 24%. So when we're looking at the margin of error, looking at this Qantas Insight, this was the latest poll. This was on 5/8/2026. it was pretty spot on. Now, when it comes to Louisiana, the Republican, whoever's in this runoff, is probably going to be the next senator. It's very likely that a Republican is going to be the next senator. So on the Democratic side, whoever wins on the Democratic side, they're going to have a rough road to go to try to win that seat. And right now, we're not even talking about a Democratic senator winning in Louisiana. It's pretty much a solid Republican seat as it stands right now. Now, it could change. That could change. And one thing that should concern Republicans is now you have two candidates running in this runoff on the Republican side. They're both, they're untested as far as we don't know. It's now an open seat. And so anything can happen in an open seat because the incumbent advantage goes away. And now we don't know. These two candidates on the Republican side, they could have some baggage that could keep them from winning in a general. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But as it stands right now, Louisiana is a solid pickup for Republicans. But we're going to follow it very closely because we've seen this before where you have an open seat and you have these candidates running and then you find out later, this candidate has a lot of baggage and they're either not going to be able to go forward, or if they go forward, they have so much baggage, it could impact the race in the general. And one more thing I want to say before I go. One thing that we've learned in Indiana, and we're now learning in Louisiana, and we're going to see a primary in Kentucky in Massey, who is, the arch nemesis of President Trump, at least President Trump thinks that. He's going to be running. So we'll have to see how that House race plays out. Massey could get primaried as well, and I think I might do a live stream on that day. So let me know if you guys want to see a live stream. Let me know down below. But one thing that we need to look at, President Trump is still the leader of the Republican Party. And if President Trump decides that he wants to, go against certain candidates, he can go against those candidates, and it looks like those candidates are losing. So what does that mean for the future? Because you're going to have these candidates going to be running in a general election, these Republican candidates. Are they going to be looking for President Trump to endorse them? Are they going to be trying to get on President Trump's good side? Because it's a double-edged sword. Because in a primary election, yes, you probably need President Trump. But in a general election, you usually want to move a little bit to the middle so you can try to get some of those independent votes. But we've seen in recent polling that independents do not like President Trump. They don't approve of what he's doing. And so if you do get an endorsement from President Trump in the general election, that could hurt you. But in the primary, you want it because that will get you the nomination on the Republican ticket. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how these politicians navigate around this. But I'm going to pass it off to you. What do you guys think about Louisiana? What do you think about President Trump, the leader of the Republican Party? Do you think he still has a stranglehold on the Republican Party? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.